Good morning. Good morning. If you can hear ridiculous background noise, there's a boy right behind the camera, wallowing on the floor. Yes, good morning. It is, in fact, not morning anymore. It is 12:03, so it is now afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome back to the corner. Today is Monday, September 12th, 2022. And we are bun day today. It is a little warm up here. It has not been warm outside, so I decided to wear a sweater today. This is my contrast sweater. It is a pattern by Petite Knit. I knit it out of LaRue cotton in the DK weight cotton base in the colors, something about shadows. I wanted to say what we do in the shadows, which may or may not be the actual name of it. And rusted, I believe, is this color. And I modified the sleeves to be knit straight all the way down with a rapid increase or rapid decrease at the cuff, because that's what I prefer. Bracelet length because I don't like things touching my hands. Yeah, that's this. There's a project page for it on my Ravelry. It's got a cute little like saddle stitch or saddle shoulder detail. I would knit this sweater again. It went super quick and it has infinite opportunities for modifications for colors. So I would totally knit this one again in just like one color or stripes all over or whatever. It was great. I loved it. A great basic sweater pattern. But anyways, let's get into it. I haven't even told you what this is. My name is Leigh, and I am a creative here in Pittsburgh, PA. I am a full-time illustrator and crafter in my spare time. This is a video podcast talking about my knitting primarily, but also some crochet, cross-stitch, and sewing when relevant. I do have one cross-stitch update for you today, so that'll be fun. Wow, my knitting is a mess. What do we have? What do we have? We're gonna start with finished objects, I guess. Why are you acting out? Ugh. Go somewhere. What are you doing? Oh my goodness. You nasty. Go lay down. Finished objects. We have a couple. First finished object I have is a pair of socks. These are my Folklore Socks. It is a yarn from Bad Sheep Yarn, and I knit these for me. Here's the logo for Bad Sheep Yarn. She is a dyer out of North Pole, Alaska. The color is Folklore, and it is on her 75/25 merino nylon base. I don't need that anymore. And I love how these turned out. They're not washed yet. None of my FOs are washed, actually. This is the only FO that is truly finished because I have the ends woven in and everything. I have another FO that doesn't have the ends woven in, but I'm still gonna include it. And I did these in a broken rib texture, which I'm loving right now. For socks, it's so much like, I love the way it looks more than a regular fully ribbed sock, and it keeps it interesting to knit without being too much to think about. And these I did 2 plain knit rounds with 1 round rib. So it's a 3 round repeat instead of just a 2 round broken stitch repeat like I do sometimes. And that's those. My vanilla sock recipe is always written in the description box below, which is what I did for these. I just added the stitch pattern into the leg and top of the foot, which I do pretty frequently. Just add a stitch pattern to make it interesting. And that is my first FO. There are project pages for everything on my Ravelry, which is linked below. All right, next FO is the only other FO I have, and these are finished, but the ends are not woven in yet. which means this one is actually still inside out because I wove in like 3 ends and then got sick of it yesterday. I just wasn't feeling it. I'm probably going to end up, by the time I weave in the ends on these, I'll have a couple of socks finished and I'll need to weave in a whole bunch of ends all at once. But these are my sweater weather socks. This yarn was Deep Stash. It is a Woolberry Fiber Co. sock set in the color Sweater Weather, which is why they're the Sweater Weather socks. And these are knit truly just in my vanilla sock recipe in the description box below. And they're so nice. They're plump, they're beautiful, and they're vanilla. There's really not that much to say about them. They're done. That's great. Love that. And now I can get rid of the Woolberry Fiber Co. tag for these. That is, I believe, all for finished objects. I have a half finished object here that is also inside out. Oh my god, give me a second. I did not prepare properly for this. Both of those pairs of socks were in this Black Pearl Magic bag, which apparently is just my float around bag because I had a bunch of stuff in it. I just stuffed a whole bunch of things in here to carry upstairs, and I need to not do that. Next, I have a half finished object, and this was a new thing for me. I was gifted back in July, I believe. No, August, the beginning of August, hold on. The beginning of August, I was gifted a sock tube from Jody, a local dyer here in Pittsburgh. Well, she's in Katanning outside of Pittsburgh. Flower Hill Fleeces. She gifted me the sock tube set that came with 1 cranked sock tube. Beautiful. It's a 60 stitch sock tube, but because of the gauge it's cranked at, it fits me perfectly. The color is maple syrup, and it came with 2 minis. It came with 2 minis as well, and these 2 minis are the colors. Oh, the camera's gonna have a hard time focusing again today. Bark and Sunflower. So I decided to pull this one out and just give myself a little bit of a treat. Finish up like the world's fastest pair of socks. I don't know why I decided to do this on a whim, but I did. And yesterday morning, I finished a sock. It was so fast. I just had to figure out how long I wanted it, cut it off, do the toe, the cuff, and then the heel in that order. And you can see for this pair I did the sunflower cuff and toe, and then the bark heel. And I will be doing a matching sock to this one, but then I will also have enough to do another pair of socks that I will do opposite. I will do a bark cuff and toe, and then a sunflower heel, and those will be going into the gift box. I'm feeling some sort of way about the cuff of this sock. I did 15 rounds, but for some reason it looks super short. I didn't want to do too many because I wanted to make sure I had enough for 2 pairs of socks out of this 1 mini. So it looks super short. My gauge is tighter than the cranked gauge, so I didn't really think about that ahead of time. And so a 60 stitch sock at my normal gauge is a little bit small for my leg. So even though I did a stretchy bind off, it's still a little bit tight around my leg, especially considering how long the leg is of this. I made it extra long because I didn't have to knit it. And you know, the farther up the leg you get, the wider your leg is. So it's a little bit tight. It's a little bit tight up at the top. I do a sewn bind off when I want to do a stretchy bind off, just because I like the way it looks and I like how easy it is to do. That is usually my go-to for a sewn or for a stretchy bind off, unless I'm doing like a tubular bind off, but this was a 2x2 cuff, so I didn't do tubular. I cannot be bothered to move stitches around, but I only got this one done yesterday, so it is a half object. I will be doing the other one just whenever I feel like it, and then I will do the other pair also whenever I feel like it. It was super fast, so there is no pressure with these, and they're cute. I love them. I love how they turned out, or are turning out. They're not done yet. And that is that. Oh, I can show you the tag. This is the band that came on it. Flower Hill fleeces, and it was a cranked sock tube set. I think that's it for things that are even kind of finished. I do have updates on whips. I have one new cast on. I have 2 new cast ons. So we'll do updates on whips first and then talk about the new cast ons. The first whip we'll talk about is in my octopus bag from Woodsy and Wild. And these are my September stripe socks. I'm doing a self-imposed challenge where I knit a pair of striped socks every month for the year of 2022. This year, 2022. And I am now halfway done with my September sock. Oh, this is a half finished object too. How did I forget? But I finished my first sock for my September socks. These are so cute and so Halloweeny. There's my little stitch or progress keeper from Simply Serving. Spooky cookie. I love spooky cookie. These are so cute. This is a yarn from Nomadic Yarns, and it is the colorway Black Flame Candle. On the Brit sock base, which is a BFL nylon blend, 80/20 BFL nylon. I love this base. It is my favorite sturdy base, which is what I always get for Brad because he is rough on socks. And I also like it for myself as well. I try to get either this one or the yak base. The yak base does change the color of the dye because it is a darker base to start with. So I usually get this one if I want the true to color. I've gotten some of her yarns on the yak base before when I think it's appropriate to have them look more muted, like some of my Christmas colors I get on the yak base. I just think it's gorgeous. But yeah, this one is completely done. I have done the contrast color, the heel, toe, and cuff in Curry. The color is called Curry. It is an onion nettle sock yarn, which is a merino nettle blend. It's perfect. They're so good. I love how these are turning out. I managed to do it right this time, and I only have this much yarn left from the first sock. I split the ball in half, and I wouldn't have wanted to use this color anyway because it's the color that is close to the toe color. So I aimed it. I called it perfectly. Now I get to start my second sock, and we'll see how it ends up because I think I'll be starting at a different color. That's half of the fun with self-striping yarns. You just kind of gotta wing it. Oh Lord, I'm making a mess. And that is that. I have one more whip that I have worked on that you have seen before, and it is in my Hamilton project bag from Paisley and Gold Sewing. And this is my Purpurea sweater. This sweater is my Christmas sweater that I'm knitting myself this year. And it is a all over cabled sweater. Make sure it's focused. Cannot tell. There we go. An all over cabled sweater. Beautiful, gorgeous. I'm very excited to have this in my wardrobe. And I'm knitting it out of the most luxurious combination of yarn. I am using Fiber for the People's organic merino fingering here and Surrey silk here, both in the color Indoor. So soft, so beautiful. Oh my goodness. And I have done a little bit of work on this. It's not gonna look like a whole lot to you, but I have finished the chart. The yoke is charted after you do the collar, and then the yoke is charted, and then you work, depending on your size, a little bit more perhaps before separating for the sleeves. And I have finished the chart, and I am now into a final cable repeat before I separate for the sleeves. But this is how it's looking. There we go. It's cabled and beautiful and so fuzzy and soft with its turtleneck collar. It's going to be so beautiful. It looks teeny tiny, but it is on small needles, and it's also cabled, so it's going to it's basically ribbed, so it's cinched in a bit. I would like to try it on here soon. I'll probably separate for the sleeves. No, I should probably try it on before I separate for the sleeves. So I'll be trying it on soon. I'll probably get through this next cable repeat and then try it on before splitting. But yeah, so far I'm loving how it's turning out. Fun, fun, fun to work on. It is a DK weight with those two yarns held together. It is a DK weight sweater knit on size 8 needles, US 8 needles, which I believe is a 5mm. So it goes pretty quickly. I think I'm going to focus on this sweater just because it's the most interesting one, the most enticing one for me right now. I have a couple more on the needles, but I think I'm just going to, like, when I want to knit on a sweater, I'll pick this one up and see how quickly I can get through it, because I feel like finishing some stuff. So this one will probably get a little bit of love every day, and hopefully by the next time you see it, I will be much farther along. It'll be getting more attention than it has been. Like, I remember I was supposed to take it on, I did take it on vacation. I was supposed to work on it on vacation, and I did not touch it the entire time I was on vacation. So now it's getting the love it deserves. The other projects I have two more knitting projects, but they're both new cast-ons. The first one has a history. This yarn, I do not have a tag for or anything because it has been knit into something before. This is a Flower Hill Fleeces yarn. It's the same Jody, but this is her homegrown yarn. She is a sheep farmer as well, and she shears her sheep and has it milled into yarn and sells it on its own undyed. And this is a beautiful worsted weight homegrown yarn, and this is beautiful heathered black color. Her sheep that this came from is now gray. She's older now, and so this was the last black yarn she provided. And this was a hat. I knit Brad a hat out of this. I ended up knitting him a hat. The page is on my Ravelry, but it's marked as frogged in my project pages because I ripped it out completely. It was a 1x1, I've said that because I can't remember the name of the pattern. The hat was a 1x1 ribbed hat, and it was huge. It was a free pattern. I knit it to pattern, and it ended up being ginormous. So instead of just leaving it, I got this bug up my butt to go into our hat pile and take out a couple of hats actually that don't fit quite right and fix them. So far this is the only one I've actually done anything with, but I ripped it out completely. It was kind of a pain in the ass because this yarn is a really fuzzy kind of single ply construction. It felts together really easily. So it was a bit of a pain to rip apart, but I did it, and I have officially started a replacement hat. Look at this beautiful stitch marker from Sassafras Knits. And I am knitting a cool cap by Park Williams. Now, if you've been here, you will know I just finished one of these a couple of weeks ago for myself / a shop sample for the yarn shop out of Malabrigo Rios, and now I am knitting a black one for Brad. So I am using 16-inch Addy rockets in a size 4, which I love. I love these needles. They're glorious. But yeah, it is a 6x6 ribbed hat. Designer Park Williams. I love how it looks. And it already looks like it's going to fit better than the last one. I am knitting this in a size adult medium large, which is the same size I knit last time. That one was a perfect size. I'm hoping that this one is also great. But yeah, that's it. That's as far as I got. I'm not getting very far on it because it's just plain black yarn, and I knit a few rows and then get bored, so I put it down very frequently. But there's not a time limit on this one either. And no pressure for this. Like, it's just a hat. So I think I'm just gonna be keeping a hat on the needles for the foreseeable future because I do have a couple that I want to fix, and also some yarn that I bought specifically for hats that I think I should just go ahead and knit up into hats. The last knitting whip I have is also a new cast on, and I have a physical pattern somewhere. Hold on. This is a pattern from the new Pom Pom issue. This is Pom Pom Quarterly, the Autumn 2022 edition. It has some gorgeous patterns in here. I have purchased 2 issues of Pom Pom before, only one of them physical. I purchased one digital only copy, and I purchased autumn 2021, and now I have autumn 2022. I think I am going to pre-order the new sock book that they're coming out with because of course I am. But the pattern I'm knitting out of here is the socks. There's one sock pattern in here, and they are the Kumiko socks. Look at these. Now these colors are gorgeous, first of all. Very, very beautiful. I have this blue color here. I actually have it in my stash. Also this one, this is the same color. This is curry. This is the color I used as the contrast heel toe and cuff in my September stripe socks that I just showed you. That's that color in the same yarn. They also show them in this color combo, which is also beautiful, but just not as exciting to me as the other. I would love to do exactly this color combo. It's gorgeous. But these are not the colors I'm using. I am knitting these socks, and I am using a mini skein set that I had in stash. I have quite a few mini skein sets in stash that I'm always scared to use because they always seem more special for some reason than other sock yarns, and they just, I don't know, it feels like they need to be the perfect thing. I pulled out a mini skein set to try out this sock pattern, and this is a mini skein set from Bird Street Yarn, and it is called The Great Outdoors. I saw this mini skein set online and I loved it so much I had to order it from England, which is where Bird Street Yarn is, so shipping was insane, but I needed it. And here are the colors. All greens with little hints of this rusty orange color. Beautiful. I'm hoping I can get 2 pairs of socks out of this if I just switch up which colors are in certain parts of the sock, as you will see. But this sock has the most interesting construction. I've never knit a sock with this kind of construction before, and I'm a little bit shook about it. A little bit shook. But here's my sock so far. Now, look at this. It is the toe and heel and the bottom of a sock. There we go. Look at this. It's wild. I flew through the toe. It starts at the toe. I flew through the toe and the bottom of the foot and the heel, and I have just started the top of the foot. Like barely started it here, and that's as far as I am. I'm feeling a little bit strange about the construction of the top of the foot. I just am not comfortable. Like, I just started it, so I'm not comfortable with it yet. So it makes me a little bit nervous, but I'm figuring it out, and hopefully it looks okay when I'm done. And that's that. That is my new cast on, my Kumiko socks using Bird Street Yarn. I don't even know what to say about these. They're such a strange construction. Like, when I saw that it was a toe up construction, I assumed it was intarsia. And so I was like gearing myself up to do intarsia, but of course I didn't read ahead in the pattern, so I didn't know until I got here and started knitting the bottom of the foot that I was like, oh, it's not intarsia at all. It's something completely new. But I think this is how I have to learn new things. I have to just like jump into them, because that's how I learned intarsia. I started knitting the Owlery blouse by Fable Knitwear and realized when I got up to the yoke of the sweater that it called for intarsia, and that was how I learned intarsia. Too late to turn back now. So there we go. Socks. Patterned socks that are strange. I got these, and I got my striped socks, and I still have Brad's Firefly socks that I have not touched. And both the striped socks and the Firefly socks are vanilla, so I have some vanilla socks to work on, as well as one interesting pair of socks. And that's it for knitting. The only other thing I have is a cross stitch update. I'm so excited. Now this cross stitch has a story. The story here is I started this cross stitch long ago, last year, I'm sure, and I wanted to do this Halloween cross stitch. I'll put a picture up here of the cross stitch that I'm doing, so I don't have to show you the chart. And I started it a while ago, and I started it twice before. The first time I tried it on black linen. I had bought an even weave linen from Joann's from just the fabric section. So it wasn't in the cross stitch section or anything. I just bought a length of linen. And I started this cross stitch on it and was having a really hard time because it was black linen. I usually use linen for my cross stitch. It's what I prefer. I just like the feel of it and the look of it. But I really struggled seeing my stitches, seeing the holes in the linen for my cross stitch. And I was like, oh, well, maybe I should buy a specific even weave linen for cross stitch and try that. So I did, and that's what this was. And I started this, I could not see it any better. That first linen I bought was perfectly fine. This was no better. This is as far as I got. I struggled real hard. You can see I messed up because like the gap over here is bigger than the gap over here, so it's not centered. And I really struggled. The stitches looked really uneven because I couldn't tell where my dang holes were. And I just wasn't happy with it. So I kept sitting around just gathering dust. Finally, about a week or two ago, I decided to finally break down and order Ida. Some cross stitch Ida, which I never buy anymore. I still have some in stash from when I was first like getting back into cross stitching. So I use it sometimes, but I don't buy Ida anymore. I just don't like the stiffness of the fabric. It's just not really like my preference. I prefer linen. But I wanted to be able to see the holes so that I could cross stitch on black fabric. And I purchased 2 bits of Ida from Stitched Modern. And I purchased it on Etsy, but I think they have an actual website down there at the bottom. And I bought some 16 count black Ida. This is Zweigert, I think. And I just bought a little piece of Ida and I have started again. And this is as far as I am. Look at that. It's looking really cute. Little pumpkin skull. Much easier to see. So much easier to see. Since I was buying this just one little piece of Ida, I couldn't just buy this one little piece of Ida. So I also bought a piece of charcoal. It's called charcoal black in a larger piece. It's also 16 count. I prefer 18 count, but they didn't have 18 count in stock at the time. But I bought this also for another Halloween cross stitch if I decided I wanted to pick another Halloween cross stitch, and this one is a bit larger. This is a 9 by 10 piece, and this was a, oh no, they're both 9 by 10 pieces. I thought I ordered a larger of this one. Hold on, this does look larger. Oh yeah, 9 by 10. This is 9 by 12. It's labeled 9 by 10 on the little card, but it is 9 by 12. And I ordered a 9 by 12 piece of the charcoal gray. Here's the difference in color. So that I could do another Halloween cross stitch at some point, because I have a couple of Halloween cross stitch patterns already purchased and ready to go. Sneak peek into acquisitions. I just wanted to talk about purchasing Ida, but that's my update on my little Halloween cross stitch. Looking super cute. It's a very small, quick, easy, only 2-color cross stitch. I am using, am I using the colors they called for, or did I substitute? I think I substituted. I think I substituted the colors, but I'm not 100% sure, but I'll tell you which 2 colors I'm using. I'm using DMC floss in the color 720, dark pumpkin-y orange, and then also 919, which is a darker orangey red. Those are the 2 colors I'm using, 720 and 919. This project is being kept in my Firefly bag. This is a bag by Southern Fried Stitching, the same person who did my Y'all Means All bag. And it's a Firefly bag. And they're embroidered on here. There's a little like faux leather tassel, and they glow in the dark, and their little like trails glow in the dark as well. Super cute. That's all I got, I think, for whips. I do have a couple of acquisitions. I will be having more acquisitions come in here in the next few weeks because I pre-ordered some Halloween yarn. But let me show you what I did get. There's only one yarn to show you. I already showed you my cross stitch fabric. The one yarn acquisition. I ordered, she posted about this on her Instagram and I could not resist but I ordered a self-striping yarn from Mustache Yarn in the color Pumpkin Spice Latte. There we go. Gorgeous, gorgeous muted autumn colors, which is my vibe, but the stripes are not even. They're not all the same width. There's some really fat stripes and some really skinny stripes, and I love that. She has some of the most sophisticated self-striping yarn. I love it. This is my only acquisition for now. I did buy something in Colorado that I wanted to mention though, because I have a recommendation slash a favorite. I am really enjoying this stuff right now. When Brad and I were in Colorado, we stayed in Denver for a couple of nights and then we drove up to Estes Park. But on the way up to Estes Park, we stopped in Boulder and we met my friend Jess for lunch and we did some shopping and all that kind of fun stuff. And while we were there, we were on Pearl Street, which is like their little shopping district in Boulder. They had a store called the Savannah Bee Company. It is a shop that sells a ton of like beeswax and honey like products. They have a lot of soaps and lotions and salves and soaps and all that kind of stuff. The back of them, of the place, is also a meadery where they sell mead, which Brad and I had never had before. So he got a glass of mead and I got a mead flight, and we tried mead for the first time. It was delicious. I'm a huge mead fan. So that was great. It was a good time. But I bought this beeswax salve in the cedar flavor, and I love this stuff. It makes my hands feel so nice. Like lotion does work, like lotion is fine, but us knitters, you know, sometimes we have heftier needs than just lotion will give us, and this salve really does a good job. It's also great for my elbows. I have chronically dry elbows, and Brad has eczema, and this works on his eczema as well. It is really nice. It is organic, it is paraben free, phthalate free, and gluten free. Of course, it's honey, it doesn't have gluten in it. And it is a proud parent of the Bee Cause Project. Not sure what that is, I haven't looked into it, but I love supporting the bees. So I just wanted to tell y'all, because I know that there are lots of good balms and salves out there. I love the one by Tuft Woolens. I used to buy Tuft Woolen salves or balms all the time, but I'd go through them so quickly. I think she makes a larger size now, which I would be interested in getting, but I just haven't gotten around to purchasing it yet. But I just wanted to say that this is also a really good one. I'd imagine they also sell online. I'll put a link below if they do. Just wanted to tell y'all about how much I love that stuff. I just put it on and it smells so good. I love the cedar scent because I love woodsy smells. I'm just a sucker for the smell of wood. Like one of my favorite flavors of the Tuft Woolens balm is the pinyon pine. Also mossy woods. Those are my favorite scents, so that's what I like. But they have other flavors that are good if that's not really your speed. That's it for crafty stuff. Is there anything new in my life? The weather, it's been cooling down here in Pittsburgh. It is like 70 degrees out right now. What is it right now? It is, oh, I said that, and it's 77 degrees outside right now. The highs will be getting into the 80s next week, so maybe not. Forget that I said anything, but my mom is coming to visit this week, so that'll be fun. She is arriving, she's flying in on Thursday morning, and we'll be here for about a week. So my video may be late next week. If I have a video at all, she will be here, so we'll see. We'll see. I'll wing it like I always do with everything. But yeah, she'll be here, and we're gonna be doing some fun stuff. We're gonna be driving out to Ohio Pile to see the Falling Water House, which I have not been to Falling Water yet. It's one of the Frank Lloyd Wright homes. It's a museum now, and we both love mid-century modern style, and it's one of her favorite kinds of architecture. So we'll be going out to see Falling Water. We'll be going to the Andy Warhol Museum because neither of us have been there either. Hitting up, just trying to do a bunch of things that we haven't done yet. And like, I've been in Pittsburgh for just over 2 years now, and there's still so many things I haven't seen, so many places I haven't gone. So we'll be doing that. I might take her to Randyland or something. I think she'd really like Randyland. And just have a good time. Have a good time. Brad is going to a concert on Friday, and it is going to be a concert that I am actually a little disappointed I'm not going to be able to go to. He likes for me to go with him to concerts, but usually the concerts he likes, we don't share a lot of music. Like, our tastes only overlap a little bit. They don't overlap a whole lot. So a lot of his concerts that he likes to go to are not really my cup of tea, but this one would have been a lot of fun. It is the Guar concert in Millvale on Friday, and Necrogoblicon is gonna be there. I would love to see Necrogoblicon, but you know, maybe next time. Apparently they're from PA, so hopefully they'll be back soon. That's it, I think. My mom coming is kind of the biggest thing going on right now because I have illustration work that I need to finish before she gets here. Like, as much illustration work as possible before she gets here. I've been trying to crank out paintings for Bitchcraft Fair, which is on the 25th of this month. So yeah, painting. All right, so that's all I got for y'all today. I think it was enough. I will see y'all in the next one.